I still have to pick up something cosmic at the Moon Mall to wear on Christmas.
The Jetsons Christmas Carol dropped in 1985, and absolutely nobody was ready for what Hanna-Barbera was about to deliver. This was not your typical holiday special. This was a futuristic fever dream wrapped in Victorian gilt and sprinkled with flying cars and robot maids. For decades, this special has been hiding secrets that most fans never discovered. From voice actor drama to animation shortcuts that would make modern studios cry, to Easter eggs buried so deep you need a time machine to find them. Today you are getting 20 weird facts about the strangest Christmas special that ever launched into orbit. Buckle up, because the future just got festive. Before we dive into video, please subscribe to our channel. Number 20. The special almost never happened at all. The Jetsons had been off the air for over 2 decades when someone at Hanna-Barbera decided to bring them back for Christmas 1985. The original series only ran for 1 season back in 1962 and 1963 before getting canceled due to low ratings. Nobody at the network believed a show about a futuristic family could find an audience during prime time. Fast forward to the mid-1980s, and suddenly everything retro was cool again. Syndication had turned the Jetsons into a cult phenomenon, with reruns playing constantly on local stations across America. Kids who had never seen the original run were now obsessed with George Jetson and his space-age family. The network executives saw dollar signs and greenlit the Christmas special as a test run to see if audiences would accept new Jetsons content. If this special had flopped, we would never have gotten the revival series that followed. The entire future of the franchise was riding on one holiday episode about a greedy boss learning the true meaning of Christmas. Number 19. George O'Hanlon recorded his lines while seriously ill. Here is a fact that will absolutely break your heart. George O'Hanlon, who voiced George Jetson since the very beginning, was battling significant health problems during the production of this special. The man was a true professional who refused to let anyone else take over his iconic role. He would come into the recording studio and deliver his lines with the same energy and enthusiasm he had shown back in 1962. The production team reportedly scheduled shorter recording sessions to accommodate his condition. O'Hanlon continued voicing George Jetson until his death in 1989, passing away during the production of Jetsons the movie. His dedication to this character in this franchise remains one of the most touching stories in animation history. Every time you hear George Jetson complaining about his job or getting pushed around by Mr. Spacely, you are hearing a man who loved his work more than anything. Number 18. The Dickens connection was a corporate mandate. You might think combining the Jetsons with A Christmas Carol was some creative genius move by the writers. The truth is much more corporate than that. Hanna-Barbera had discovered that public domain stories were basically free money. They did not have to pay anyone for the rights to adapt Charles Dickens because the man had been dead for over a century. The studio had already done Flintstones versions of classic tales, and the formula worked beautifully. Take a beloved animated family and drop them into a story everyone already knows. Parents would watch because of nostalgia for the source material. Kids would watch because of the cartoon characters. It was a perfect storm of cost-cutting and cross-generational appeal. The Jetsons' Christmas Carol was not born from artistic vision. It was born from accountants realizing they could produce holiday content without paying a single writer for the underlying story. Number 7. Mr. Spacely as Scrooge was the obvious choice. Casting Mr. Spacely as the Scrooge character required approximately zero creative discussion. The tiny angry boss who constantly threatened to fire George Jetson was already the most Scrooge-like character in the entire Hanna-Barbera universe. Mel Blanc, who also voiced countless other iconic characters, brought his signature fury to the role. Spacely was already obsessed with money and productivity and had zero patience for anything that got in the way of profit. The writers barely had to change his personality at all. They just gave him a top hat and some ghostly visitors, and suddenly the meanest boss in the future became the meanest miser in Christmas history. Some characters are born to play Scrooge. Cosmo Spacely was practically auditioning for the role since 1962. Number 16. The animation budget was shockingly low. Television animation in the 1980s was not known for its lavish budgets, but the Jetsons' Christmas Carol took cost cutting to another level. If you watch the special closely, you will notice characters standing perfectly still while only their mouths move. Backgrounds get recycled multiple times throughout the episode. Walking cycles repeat on obvious loops. The future was supposed to look sleek and advanced, but the animation made it look stiff and mechanical. Hanna-Barbera had perfected the art of limited animation back in the 1960s, and they were not about to change their ways for a holiday special. Every shortcut that could be taken was taken. Every corner that could be cut was sliced clean off. The special still worked because the voice performances and the story carried the weight. But do not look too closely at the animation itself, or you will see the seams holding everything together. Number 15. Rosie the robot got surprisingly emotional moments. Rosie the robot was always more than just a mechanical maid. She was essentially a member of the Jetson family, and the Christmas special leaned into that hard. The writers gave Rosie genuine emotional beats that went beyond her usual comedic relief role. She worries about the family. She cares about their happiness. She shows more warmth than some of the human characters in the special. Jean Vanderpyle voiced Rosie along with Jane Jetson, which meant she was essentially acting opposite herself in several scenes. The decision to make Rosie emotionally invested in the Christmas story added a layer of heart that the special desperately needed. Without Rosie grounding the chaos and genuine feeling, the whole thing could have felt like a hollow cash grab. Instead, it had a robot teaching us about love. Number 14. The ghost designs were genuinely creepy. A Christmas Carol requires ghosts, and the Jetsons' Christmas Carol did not hold back on making them unsettling. The Ghost of Christmas Past had an otherworldly quality that felt genuinely strange for a Saturday morning-style production. The Ghost of Christmas Future was particularly dark, leaning into the shadowy, hooded figure that has terrified readers since Dickens first put pen to paper. These were not cute cartoon ghosts. These were specters designed to genuinely unsettle Mr. Spacely and by extension the audience. The animators clearly had fun designing creatures that could push the boundaries of what was acceptable for family entertainment. Kids watching this special got a taste of genuine gothic horror wrapped in a futuristic package. The contrast between the bright Jetsons aesthetic and these dark supernatural visitors created a visual tension that still works today. Number 13. This special featured an insane amount of product placement. The future, according to the Jetsons, was always filled with branded consumer products, and the Christmas special was no exception. Flying cars and robot servants were really just advertisements for a consumerist paradise. Every gadget shown was essentially a fantasy product waiting to be invented and sold. The special aired during a time when toy companies and animation studios were working closer together than ever before. While the Jetsons' Christmas Carol did not have direct toy tie-ins like some other properties of the era, it absolutely sold a lifestyle. The message was clear. The future will be amazing if you buy enough stuff. Even in a story about the dangers of greed, the special could not resist showing off all the cool things money could buy in the 22nd century. The irony was thick enough to spread on toast. Number 12. Elroy and Judy were basically sidelined. The Jetson kids got absolutely robbed in this special. Elroy the boy genius and Judy the dramatic teenager had almost nothing to do while Mr. Spacely hogged all the screen time with his spiritual transformation. This was supposed to be a Jetsons story, but it really became a Spacely story with the Jetsons as supporting characters in their own franchise. The decision made sense from a narrative perspective since Scrooge is the focus of A Christmas Carol. But longtime fans of the family might have felt disappointed that their favorite kids were reduced to background decoration. Elroy could have had an entire subplot about building some kind of Christmas invention. Judy could have had teen drama with holiday stakes. Instead, they mostly just existed while the adults carried the story. A missed opportunity that still stings. Number 11. The voice cast was basically a reunion tour. Getting the original voice actors back together was no small feat after more than 20 years. Janet Waldo returned as Judy. Dawes Butler returned as Elroy. Jean Vanderpyle came back for Jane and Rosie. George O'Hanlon was George as always. Mel Blanc brought Spacely back to furious life. This was not a recast. This was the real deal. The same voices that defined these characters in 1962 were still defining them in 1985. For longtime fans, hearing those original performances was like stepping back in time while simultaneously leaping into the future. The chemistry between the voice actors had not faded one bit despite the decades apart. They slipped back into these roles like putting on comfortable old spacesuits. That authenticity is something modern reboots often miss when they recast beloved characters. Number 10. The moral message was surprisingly dark. Most holiday specials tell you to be nice and appreciate your family. The Jetsons' Christmas Carol told you that if you do not change your ways, you will die alone and everyone will celebrate. The Ghost of Christmas Future showed Spacely a world where nobody cared that he was gone. His grave was untended. His legacy was forgotten. His employees threw parties instead of mourning. For a cartoon aimed at families, this was genuinely heavy stuff. Dickens never pulled punches with his message about redemption and mortality, and neither did this adaptation. Kids watching this special in 1985 got a full dose of existential terror dressed up in futuristic clothing. Be kind to people or fade into nothing. Happy Holidays from Hanna-Barbera, number 9. The special secretly set up the revival series. The Jetsons Christmas Carol was not just a holiday one-off. It was a stealth pilot to test audience interest in new Jetsons content. The executives were watching the ratings closely to determine if the franchise could support a full revival. When the special performed well, it greenlit what became the 1985 to 1987 Jetsons revival series, with new episodes produced for syndication. Everything about the Christmas special was designed to remind audiences why they loved this family while also proving the concept could work in a modern context. If viewers had rejected the special, the revival never would have happened. The entire second life of the Jetsons franchise can be traced back to this one Christmas gamble paying off. Number 8. The running time created pacing problems. Fitting A Christmas Carol into a half-hour time slot meant cutting corners everywhere. The original Dickens story has room to breathe with long passages of description and reflection. The Jetsons' Christmas Carol had to sprint through the narrative, hitting every required beat at maximum speed. Ghosts appeared and disappeared almost immediately. Character development happened in seconds rather than scenes. The transformation of Spacely from miser to generous soul felt rushed because there simply was not enough time to sell it properly. Longer specials like an hour format would have allowed the story to develop naturally. Instead, we got a condensed version that sometimes felt like reading the spark notes instead of the actual book. Number 7. The background art contained hidden jokes. Look closely at the backgrounds in the Jetsons' Christmas Carol, and you will find all kinds of hidden gags that the animators snuck in. Signs and posters in the future contain puns and references that most viewers missed during the original broadcast. Building names make jokes about space travel. Advertisements for futuristic products sound ridiculous when you actually read them. The background artists at Hanna-Barbera were famous for hiding these Easter eggs throughout their productions. They knew that kids would be too focused on the characters to notice, but adults rewatching might catch the hidden humor. It was a way to entertain themselves during the long hours of production, while also rewarding dedicated viewers who paid attention. Number 6. The future Christmas looks exactly like present Christmas for a family living in a world of flying cars and robot servants. The Jetsons celebrate Christmas in a remarkably old-fashioned way. They have a tree, they exchange wrapped presents, they sing carols, they eat a traditional dinner. Nothing about their holiday celebration reflects the advanced technology surrounding them. This was probably intentional since the audience needed to connect with familiar Christmas imagery. But it does raise questions about why technology advanced in every area except holiday traditions. Maybe the message is that some things are timeless, or maybe the writers just did not want to invent an entirely new way to celebrate Christmas when the old way was working fine. Number 5. Mr. Cogswell makes a sneaky appearance. Mr. Spacely's business rival and eternal nemesis. He shows up briefly in the Jetsons' Christmas Carol to add context to Spacely's obsession with profit and competition. Their rivalry was a running joke throughout the original series, with both men trying to destroy each other's companies. In the Christmas special, Cogswell serves as a reminder of why Spacely is so focused on money in the first place. The constant pressure of competition has turned him into a cruel boss. Seeing Cogswell even briefly helps explain Spacely's behavior without excusing it. It is a small touch that adds depth to a character who could easily have been one-dimensional. Number 4. Astro got the best physical comedy. Astro, the Jetson family dog, was always a source of physical comedy, and the Christmas special gave him several great moments. His interactions with the holiday chaos provided some of the biggest laughs in the entire production. The animators loved working with Astro because dogs allow for exaggerated physical gags that would look strange on human characters. He slides, he crashes, he makes a mess of everything he touches. Don Messick voiced Astro with the same speech impediment he had used since the original series, adding R sounds to the beginning of words. Astro might not have been central to the plot, but he was essential to the comedy. Every serious moment needed a dog falling over something to balance it out. Number 3. The ending was changed at the last-minute. Original scripts for the Jetsons' Christmas Carol had a slightly different ending than what actually aired. The specifics of what was changed have been lost to time, but production notes suggest the network wanted a more explicitly happy conclusion. Spacely's redemption arc was apparently softened to make him more sympathetic in the final scenes. The original version kept more of his edge even after his transformation. Networks in the 1980s were extremely cautious about how villains were portrayed in holiday specials. Everyone had to learn their lesson completely, no ambiguity allowed. The version that aired wrapped everything up with a neat bow that some involved in the production felt was too tidy. Number 2. The special has never been properly restored. Finding a clean copy of the Jetsons Christmas Carol in 2024 is surprisingly difficult. The special has been released on various home video formats over the years, but never received a proper high-definition restoration. The original film elements are presumably sitting in a Warner Bros. Vault somewhere collecting dust. Streaming services occasionally carry the special during the holiday season, but the quality varies wildly. For a piece of animation history that helped revive an entire franchise, it deserves better treatment. Fans have been requesting a proper restoration for years without any response from the studio. One day, maybe the Jetsons will finally get the archival respect they deserve. Number 1. The special predicted smart home technology. This is the wildest fact of all. The Jetsons Christmas Carol showed a house where everything was automated and voice-controlled. Lights responded to commands. Appliances worked on their own. The home basically ran itself with minimal human input. In 1985, this seemed like pure science fiction. Now in 2024, we have Alexa and Google Home and smart refrigerators doing exactly what the Jetsons predicted. The Christmas special specifically showed holiday preparations being handled by automated systems, decorations going up by themselves, meals being prepared by robots. The future arrived, and it looks remarkably similar to what Hanna-Barbera imagined. Every time you ask a voice assistant to play Christmas music, you are living in the world the Jetsons promised us. The Jetsons Christmas Carol was never just a simple holiday special. It was a turning point for an entire franchise and a time capsule of 1980s animation. From the dedicated voice actors to the cost-cutting animation to the surprisingly dark moral message, this special contained multitudes. It brought back a beloved family from television history and reminded audiences why they loved them in the first place. 40 years later, the special still holds up as a weird and wonderful piece of holiday entertainment. Whether you grew up watching it or just discovered it today, the Jetsons Christmas Carol proves that some things never go out of style. Meet George Jetson and have yourself a very futuristic Christmas.